That's how we used to chant that in the 70s, man. So it was before the footballers got that. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Shri Prabhupada Jivanamritam Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. So we have the opportunity to read Sri Prabhupada Jivanamritam, the kind mercy of Srila Guru Maharaj. So now we are reading the number 13, given by Srila Guru Maharaj, the introductory sloka. Devotional service rendered to the devotees bestows the highest fruit. Tadyar radhanam parama paladam. Paladam, the fruit, parama paladam, the highest fruit. Tadyar radhanam, radhanam, service, and to those devotees. So the translation, Ch.ch Maharaj, great devotee, Alwar from the early time, in our time, in the early AD time, maybe 400 or 500, maybe 600. I could look it up. But Ch.ch was a great king, really loved by the people that he served, and he was a great Vaishnava, and he wrote many, many prayers and poems glorifying directly Sri Krishna in his different forms. And even today there are beautiful temples in Trivandrum area to Vishnu and to Krishna. Okay, so he says, O Supreme Lord of all beings, O slayer of the demons Madhu and Koitava, this is the purpose of my life. This is my prayer, and this is your grace, that you will remember me as a servant, Jai Gurudev, of such a servant of a Vaishnava, and a servant of a servant of the servant of a servant of the Vaishnava's servant's servant. I didn't follow that. It was very removed servitor. This is the statement of Ch.ch Maharaj, that he's serving those who serve the Vaishnavas, who serve the Vaishnavas, who serve the Vaishnavas, all the way removed to the lowest position. And we have to remember, this is a king speaking. It's not, an ordinary person in terms of the Varnashram Dharma. He's the top of the Kshatriya level rulers who were, of course, almost controlled by the high Brahmins, but not really. They had their own individual choice. And here Ch.ch Maharaj, as an individual great devotee, is indicating what his real position is beyond his duty as a king. So, Maj Jamana Palam Idam Matu Koitabare Mat Prartaniya Mad Anugraha Esha Eva Tad Britya Britya Paricharaka Britya Britya Brityasya Britam Iti Mam Smara Lokanatha. So please remember me as Britya Brityam Iti Mam Smara. Please remember Mam, remember me, Smara. O Lokanath, O Lord of all the planets, you please remember me as what? Remember me as what? A servant of a servant of a servant. This is my position. And so this is our, we learn our meditation from Ch.ch Maharaj, that our position is, each one of us, our position is to serve the servants of the servants of the servants of the Vaishnavas. And we get the opportunity by the grace of the, Paramahansa Vaishnavas. They have, designated Acharya servitors, and they have their servitors, and we can serve those servitors. And even beyond that, we can serve the servants of the servants who are, in each one of our different temples or in our particular grihastha ashram or whatever our situation is. We have the chance to render service to the servants, of our gurus. And meditating and seeing the light, the bright light in everyone, we can understand that, all of our God brothers and God sisters are, attempting to give their lives. And that attempt is really the standard of progress in devotional service. It's not as though we, according to our particular vision, it's not that we have to see our God brothers and God sisters as Paramahansas, but we can see them as people who are placing the ideal at the top, and that's the real indication of the position of a Vaishnava, the sincere inner attempt, and our perception of external things, that actually is our fault. It's our flaw that we look at the external position of the Vaishnava, because it's, in terms of the vision of the Paramahansa, it's really unreal. It's not really real. It's a false understanding of the self, temporarily there, due to illusion, which is going to be dissipated if we have faith. We'll understand that it's going to be dissipated by the power of devotion. So this is like an essential understanding that whatever illusion appears to be there in the Vaishnava, it's going to be dissipated soon by the power of our gurus. This kind of faith we need to develop, and that kind of vision, which is outside of the range of the modes of material nature, outside of the range of comprehending things based on the functions of the material world and the material energy. It's not, it's not the real thing. We have to train ourselves. This is our sadhana, to see things not in terms of our mundane position in the material world and others' mundane position in the material world, but in terms of the central object of our life, and that is a transcendental person, the Lord. And not only that, we get the opportunity to get in line to serve the servants of the servants of the servants, like Kulashekar Maharaj is saying, ultimately in Vrindavan, but also here right now. We can, in that mood, serve the devotees. And sometimes I see devotees who just kind of live in that serving mood. And it's worshipable, no doubt. It's something that I aspire for, and we should all aspire for. And some devotees are, progressed in that ideal. And, it doesn't matter what their apparent position is, in terms of the ordered arrangement of the functioning of temples or jobs or this or that. It doesn't make any difference. The real thing is the service attitude, and if we can develop that, we'll break through the illusion to the reality of our transcendental existence. Okay, so one more shloka from Prabhupada Jivanamritam. Okay, this is number 14, and Srila Guru Maharaj tells us, service to the Lord's devotee is not a trifling matter. Trifling means insignificant. as though, you know, we have other big service to do, so serving the Vaishnavas takes a secondary position. But Gurudev is saying, don't think like that. It's not trifling, it's really major. It's the major ideal of our life is to, you know, bam, right here, to serve the devotees and understand our position as a servant. So, tadiya sevanam na hi tucham. Tadiya sevanam. So, service to those devotees, na hi tucham. Tucham must be trifling matter. He gives emphasis in Sanskrit. Na hi tucham. So it's definitely not a small matter, a temporary appearance of some like illusory order that we see in the material world, but rather it's like a transcendental order that is gradually being revealed to us. That the real devotee really thinks to himself at the bottom of the line, like the baby dependent on the mother. Ha-ha! Is he talking about me? Okay, so this is Deshikacharya, which is Vedanta Deshika, who is, I believe, a disciple, or perhaps a disciple of Srila Ramanujacharya, the great Vaishnava Acharya from South India, who broke through the misconception of the lower conception of Brahman as the ultimate, given by Shankaracharya in his Sharirak Bhasya, which is the analysis of the Vedanta Sutra. And this Vedanta Sutra, generally amongst the scholars, the interpretation of the Vedanta Sutra is considered primary in understanding devotional life. Is she preaching? Telling us about Krishna? Are you telling us about Krishna? Is that what you're saying? She knows I'm talking to her. Okay. So, Deshikacharya says, some people take shelter in the path of action, karma, while others take shelter in the path of knowledge, jnana. But as far as we are concerned, we have chosen the sandals of the servants of Lord Hari as the only refuge. So the sandals of the servants of the Lord Hari. So these are, this is a Vaishnava devotee giving an expression of his, heart's feeling that he is, in the position of being a servant of the Lord's devotee, and understanding the reality of that, in itself is the full measure of dedication, to quote Abraham Lincoln. Okay, so the Sanskrit of Desika Acharya, disciple of Ramanujacharya, from maybe, 13th or 14th century in our time. And of course, they have their own time based on their own particular acharyas. So the South Indian time, Vaishnava time, is different than the Gaudiya Vaishnava time, because it's based on a particular appearance probably of Ramanujacharya, but maybe of Jamunacharya, Ramanujacharya's guru. So, Jnana na valambaka lechit. Lechit karma valambakaha. Vayam tu hardi dasinam padatrana valambakaha. Valambakaha. So this Valambakaha, take shelter of. Karma, no, don't take shelter of karma. Pada Tranaya Lambaka, so Palatrayana is shelter of the servants of Lord Hari. Hari Dasinam, Vayam tu Hari Dasinam, of their lotus feet. Pada Trana Valambaka. Take the shelter of those devotees as the only refuge. Desikacharya. So we have the opportunity to take shelter of such great Vaishnavas who have come to us to give us a chance to give service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Maharaj, could you give an example of taking shelter of karma and taking shelter of jnana in this age?
Well, you can see the people in business. They're like, in many cases we have to look to them for their degree of absorption in their objective. I mean, they're completely. Sometimes we contact them. I've contacted people like that within my life, doing some business as a grihasta, just completely dedicated and lost in the objective of material success through action, through karma. And generally, we've seen it works. If people dedicate themselves to the path of action, giving like their full engagement after some particular objective, generally they're successful in putting, if they put full energy into it. Not always, depending on the degree of their karma. But at the same time, following the path of karma means also, besides doing it according to your particular conditioned nature, but it means also that you're giving the energy of your free will to the choice of following the path of karma, getting material success, thinking that that's going to fulfill the inner desire that we all have. And jnana, knowledge, I mean, definitely you can see that in the mundane scholars. That's really, I mean, I've been there and seen them. It's their whole life is like analysis of different aspects of the temporary world, from physics and biology and geology to, Sanskrit and Indian politics and Indian anthropology and all these different aspects of understanding about how the material world works. And some of them are just completely lost in trying to analyze and understand the scriptures of India, and not based on faith as the scriptures themselves advise, but based on like an external analysis of the words. And so generally they find fault. Sometimes they appreciate the beautiful poetry of Kaviraj Goswami, for example, and sometimes they don't. And like one professor of Bengali at the school I went to in the beginning, decided that the Srila Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita was defective. So he would have to come forward with a better translation. This is, an offensive jnani, thinking that knowledge is everything based on, intellectual acquisition, and not based on, like genuine internal pursuit, which we're trying to develop based on our inner free will. So the free will can be directed in different ways: karma, jnana, or bhakti. And karma, jnana, there's different levels of dedication based on the position and the modes of material nature. Everyone's slightly different. but they're choosing consciously to dedicate themselves to a particular type of path. So this is like the reality of this, even though, you know, Ch.ch Adi spoke it in 13th or 14th century, it's real now. It has to do with the nature of how the material world works. And even though the circumstance, the external appearance has changed, now there's big buildings and airplanes and all these different signs of material progress, it's still the same situation. There's still people that are thinking, you know, success is everything. Some people are thinking acquisition of knowledge is everything. You know, so these people are, according to Ch.ch Adi, they're engaged in something that is not in the best interests of the soul, the spirit soul. So he chooses the sandals of the lotus feet of Lord Hari. So, you know, Guru Maharaj has given us all these South Indian saints as examples. And, you know, we can understand the validity of devotion as is approached in a variety of aspects based not on the particular, you know, external sect or path or whatever, or religion, but based on the expression of realized internal devotion. That's what Guru Maharaj is seeing. And we should see like that also, that, you know, some are saying, oh, you know, ISKCON, only within the society will you make progress. But that's, you know, definitely a signal of a Kanishta consciousness. Only in my temple. It directly says that. And yet they're thinking like that. But the standard is not structure, but the standard is devotion. And Srila Guru Maharaj emphasized that so much at the time of the disappearance of Srila Prabhupada. It's not society consciousness, Krishna consciousness. He said directly. But they walked away from that, and they've been pulled into, you know, inevitable external consciousness. But anyway, it's not important. There are many sincere devotees there, and based on Srila Prabhupada's service and surrender to Srila Prabhupada, they will make progress. But unfortunately, the organizational structure is pulling many in the wrong direction. That's just my lamentation. Okay, so next we have a verse from Kulishekar Maharaj about exclusive service to Sri Govinda, the personification of divine ecstasy. Directly, Sri Govinda, he says. That Lord Govinda, our Govinda Sundar, the Sri Govinda of Rupa Goswami, now in Jaipur.
We went there.
Yeah, you did? Yeah. Yeah, I've been there many times, but the last time I was there was in the late 80s. So I haven't been there for a long time. I need to go there. See Radha Govinda and circumambulate and get prasadam and you know, feel the presence of the Lord. And you know, in the 70s I went there, and you know, really a beginner devotee, but I saw like in the morning, Mangal Arti, 4 o'clock, like hundreds of people coming from all over Jaipur, and many with like sincere, like intensely like praying and begging for the mercy of Sri Govinda and Srimati Radharani. And you know, you had to understand that devotion is accessible from any stage, any position. And the reality of devotion is there, you know, outside of our societal structures and all these things. Though, you know, in our case, we have, you know, direct access to realized souls who can convey to us in a powerful, potent way the path through which we have to travel to reach the highest objective. This is our fortune. We have Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Srila Govinda Maharaj, and of course at the introductory merciful stage, and all along the way, Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. This is Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Brinda Ki Jai. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jai Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Okay. So Kaviraj Goswami has just composed a beautiful shloka pointing out how even the highest devatas, demigods, Shiva and Brahma, worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that worshipable deity who has come to give pure devotional service to his devotee. And he's praying, Kaviraj Goswami is praying, let him be the object of my vision. Drishaha, api drishaha, punaha, again, let me see him. This Sri Chaitanya. Okay. Okay, we heard the plenary parts are weapons. Okay. Now we have Shloka 68, chapter 3, Adi Lila. According to the evidence of the revealed scriptures, yes.
I think we finished at 64.
Are we? Oh, okay. 64?
Yeah.
No, we've done, I did this. I think. Let me just see. Oh, there's another Sanskrit sloka that he composed. Okay, you're right. Maybe I didn't. Sorry. Okay. I thought we talked about the weapons. Oh, yeah. Okay, it's already been spoken earlier. Okay. 64. Anyone who looks upon his beautiful body or beautiful face becomes freed from all sins and obtains the wealth of love of Godhead. Premadhana. Papa kraya, destruction. The sins are destroyed by just looking on the beautiful face and the body. Of course, as Srila Sridhar Maharaj has, elucidated that looking is no external matter, and it's something that has to do. Real looking has to do with genuine, full development in devotional service. And so gradually, as we progress, we see more and more of the actual face of the Lord. Sri Mukha, Sri Anga, his body, Sri Mukha, his face, Darshana. In this case, Kori Darshana, those who see, or as we understand from our gurus, those who come before the Lord in a mood of service to present themselves to the Lord, they become freed from all sins and obtain the premadhana, the great wealth of love.
Right?
Yes.
When they say get free from all sins, do they mean get removed all sinful reactions, or a tendency to create sin in future?
Papa kshaya. Pap means sin, but it also naturally includes the reaction to sin. I think no doubt about it. So if you stop the sin, there may still be reactions that come, but eventually it will cease, like pulling the plug on a fan. that example is given. That you pull the plug on a fan, the fan still turns, it moves around, but eventually it's going to stop. So in that way, exposing ourselves to transcendental hearing and understanding Chaitanya Charitamrita, Prapana Jivanamritam, so many things given by our beloved gurus. Just by doing that, we can perceive gradually the form and face of the Lord, based on our surrender and based on our devotion. And in that way, we get the prema dana, and automatically, by its presence, we just naturally stop. So it's a process of purification that we're all engaged in, and we're all in a hospital. We're all patients who have different types of diseases in different degrees. And some of us are healing in faster ways, some are healing in slower ways, in different aspects of our development. So again, it's important to see the devotees, in that context, that we're all sick, but at the same time see them in terms of who they are really as healed personalities. And understand, I've got disease, and they've also got disease in different ways. So it doesn't really matter what kind of disease you have if you're in a really good hospital with really good doctors, because it's going to be fixed. So we're in a really good hospital, we have really good doctors, and our disease is going to be fixed somehow or other. So, to see like that and understand like that in our relations amongst the devotees is important and, natural, very natural. So, becomes freed from sins, that's clearly stated. Shri Anga, Shri Mukha, Ye Kori Darshana, Tara Papa Kshaya Haya, Paya Prema Dhana. Paya obtains, Prema Dhana, Dhana wealth, Prema, love of God. So, and Tara, him, that person, Papakshaya, the sins are destroyed. So that person who Kori Darshana has the vision of the face and body. So that, Kaviraj Goswami is directly telling us that the face and the body of the Lord is completely transcendental. Not like the mundane, well, not exactly mundane, but like the Brahma idea that any form has to be, ultimately material, however high it is. But Kaviraj Goswami here is saying, no. If you see the face, if you see the body, that's it. That's the transcendental experience. So he's clearly defining the nature of the Absolute as transcendental, and previously, as Krishna, coming as Lord Chaitanya. So 65. In other incarnations, the Lord descended with armies and weapons, but in this incarnation, his soldiers are his plenary parts and associates. So he comes with different associates and plenary portions. The demigods descend, the Vishnu forms descend, Balaram himself descends, and all these devotees who come down with Mahaprabhu, their whole single mission is the mission of Mahaprabhu, which is to, deliver all the conditioned souls. And we're told by Kaviraj Goswami that this potency has impelled a freeing of all the conditioned souls. And how this will happen, we don't understand clearly, we can't see it clearly, but by the vision of Kaviraj Goswami, we know it's going to happen like a wave. Maybe now the wave is small, and it's just barely beginning to build up speed. But eventually it's going to become large and break and, crash onto the shore. This we understand, and this we know. So to preserve the the real meaning of the descent of Mahaprabhu. It's even though destiny tells us that this thing is going to work, we can't become complacent, you know, because it still has to do with personal free will. That aspect always comes into play, even though things you know, are said to be predestined. We can develop and hasten what is predestined by the combination of our free wills as servitors of you know, as we're told in Prapana Jivanamritam, that you know, to serve the servant of the servant, that's the real thing that impels and develops devotion. So yeah, so his associates come and help Mahaprabhu. Then another Sanskrit sloka. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always the most worshipable deity of the demigods, the devatas, including Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma, who came in the garb of ordinary men, bearing love for him. He instructs his own pure devotional service to his own devotees. Will he again be the object of my vision? Apidrishaha, of the two eyes. When will he be that object of my vision? So there's all, you know, all these great high personalities within this world. They also are worshiping the Supreme. And when will I get the shelter of that, you know, same Supreme Personality of Godhead who comes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Kaviraj Goswami has composed another brilliant Sanskrit sloka in the midst of his Bengali renderings about the life of Mahaprabhu. They are interspersed with Sanskrit slokas that are just amazing in the nature of their composition. Compact and poetic, and at the same time filled with transcendental revelation. This is possible only by a highly surrendered soul who is directly impelled by Lord Nityananda. This we know. So to be able to quote the shlokas given by Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj is it's a great honor to be able to do that. That we can actually open this book and try, by the grace of our gurus, to a little bit enter into what the sound is and what the essence of the sound is that Kaviraj Goswami is giving us. This is why we read the Sanskrit as best we can. This is why we read the Bengali, because in that sound there's potency. This we understand constantly that the sound contains something that's very valuable. And so what to speak of the sound directly of Kaviraj Goswami, impelled by Nityananda Prabhu. So we'll try to read this. Sadopasya Sriman Drityamanuja Kayai Pranayitam Vahadbir Gir Vinayar Girisha Parameshti Prabriti Bihi Swabhaktebhya Shudam Nija Bhajana Mudram Upadishan Sri Chaitanya Kim Me Punar Api Drishor Yasyati Padam. Yasyati Padam. He will go to that abode. Oh, so Prabhupada translates, when will he again be the object of my vision? Like Drisha, the two eyes. Puna, again, certainly. He certainly will be the object of my vision, Kaviraj Goswami is saying. Translated as, will he again be the object of my vision? So there's even more emphasis given in the Sanskrit, kind of emphasis of not only certainty but also like desperation. So sada, always, upasya, worshipable. That Sriman, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Dritya, Manuja Kayai, who accepted the bodies of, appears to have accepted the bodies of, men who's come down to us with pranayitam, love, and bearing it, vahab-dibi. Then, Gi Vanai, by the demigods. Grisha is the name of Lord Shiva. Parameshti is the name of Lord Brahma. Okay, so Kaviraj Goswami sees that these great controllers of the universe, they're surrendered to Krishna, and when will that through my surrender and through my devotion, when will I see that transcendental Lord again? And to become an object of vision also means that you're immersed in service. It's all going on simultaneously in the spiritual realm. The whole form, the whole being of existence is nothing more than devotion. It's fully devotion. So that energy of the individual living entity brings about a transcendental form based on devotion. Whereas here in the material world, the form of our conditioning is the body that we're sitting in right now. It's exactly, precisely the form of our conditioned nature. And, we have to understand that if there's a form that's temporary, then almost necessarily it can't have come out of nothing. It's much more reasonable and I guess accessible to understand there's a transcendental form from which this material form has come than to just say it's come out of nothing. That's kind of impossible. Something comes from nothing. Is an empty proposition. It's a nothing proposition. So, okay. Sri Chaitanya hi me punar api drishar yashyati drishar. Okay. Let me see him. Okay, 67. His plenary parts and associates perform the work of weapons as their own specific duties. Please hear from me another meaning of the word anga. So, angopanga astra kare swakarya sadhana. Anga shabdara artha arashuna diyamana. Anga upanga, the plenary parts and associates, their weapons, astra, like Brahmastra, that gigantic weapon, wielded by the great Maharatis in the time of Krishna's appearance, compared to nuclear type weapons and the way it's described. So they had that, not impelled by a combination of functions of the external world, forcing a collapse or a piercing of the atom, releasing this unbelievable energy. This was done by subtle means at that time, controlling the external material nature through subtle, mental and intellectual powers coming from the soul itself. So these are In this age, these same weapons, personalities appear as his associates to spread the Sankirtan movement, is what Kaviraj Goswami is saying. So, Angopanga Astrakori Swakarya Sadhana. Sadhana, this is called an accomplishment. Okay, accomplish the work. Swakarya, their own business, their own work. Karya comes from, karna, action. Okay, 68. According to the evidence of the revealed scriptures, a bodily limb, anga, is also called a part, angsha, and a part of a limb is called a partial part, upanga. So this is, more specifics are going to come from Kaviraj Goswami. Right now he's outlining the nature of the arrangement of Krishna's parts and parcels and plenary portions, and how they expand and how they're defined in relation to Krishna as anga, limbs, and angsa, parts. So plenary portions and parts, partial parts, and part and partial parts, angsa and upanga. So he'll define that later. Let's just see. Okay. Anga shabde angsa kahe shastra paramana. Angera avayava upanga vyakyana. Okay. Vyakyana. Upanga vyakyana, the exposition of the world. Avyaya, the constituent part. Prabhupada translates that as partial part. Angera, of the limb. Pramana, this evidence that we see in the Shastra, scriptures. And what does it kahe? It says that there's angsha, anga, and anga shabde. By the word of the scripture about the anga, talks about angsa also, and angera, the limb of angsha, I think. So the translation is there's a bodily limb, also called a part, and the part of a limb is called a partial part, upanga. We'll do one more. This is another Sanskrit sloka from Kaviraj Goswami. No, actually he's quoting from Srimad Bhagavatam, a statement by Lord Brahma in the pastime of Brahma being bewildered by Krishna. Okay, so now Brahma is praying. O Lord of Lords, you are the seer of all creation. You are indeed everyone's dearest life. Are you not therefore my father, Narayana? Narayana refers to one whose abode is in the water born from Nara, Garbhodakashai Vishnu, and that Narayana is your plenary portion. All your plenary portions are transcendental, they are absolute, and not creations of Maya. Srimad Bhagavatam is, very specific and establishes the nature of the absolute as, appearing in this world, not as parts of Maya, but as, transcendental limbs, parts of the Lord. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada calls them expansions. So Brahma is clearly indicating that these transcendental parts don't have anything to do with the material energy. And Narayana, born from Garbhodakashai Vishnu. Okay. Narayanas tvang nahi sarvadehinam atmas yadi shakila loka sakshi. Narayana ungam nara bahu jalayanat tuchapi satyam na tavaiva maya. Okay. So na tava eva maya. It's not possible that that is part of maya, but rather satyam. It's the highest. It's api satyam. Certainly the highest truth. And born Nara, born of Nara, part of Nara, Jala, in the water, Bhu, born, Anayat, due to the place of refuge. So he's known as Narayan due to being in the place of refuge in the water as Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Akila Loka, of all the worlds, he is the Atma, the Supersoul, Paramatma, of all living beings. Sarva Dehinam. Dehinam, Dehi is body, Dehinam, all the people, all the living beings who have bodies. Sarva, he is the Lord of them, Narayana, Lord Narayan, who oversees all the living beings who have bodies, expanding as the Supersoul in the heart, to accompany the conditioned soul, like it's described in the Upanishads, like a bird with another bird in the tree, always seeing the actions of the other bird, jumping amongst the fruits, giving encouragement according to the decision of that bird to do different things. Always kind of like indicating through the actions that he allows, you know, indicating the unreality of the tree and the necessity of leaving the tree. But the other bird doesn't see that and is like lost in eating the fruits of the tree, when actually that bird could fly away and be free. Right now he's bound in the tree, but he doesn't know it, and he thinks the fruits are very, very nice, but he's trapped. And this is the nature of the soul. But yet, even though we're trapped in the material world by our own foolish decisions, Krishna accompanies us. He never leaves us. He's always there as Paramatma with us. And the Vaishnava sees that Paramatma in the ultimate form of Lord Krishna. And in our case, our fortunate case, Krishna is seen as the combination of Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the golden transcendental form. So I told the story before, but we asked Srila Prabhupada why Kishore Kishori, the deities in Chicago that came there when I was there, why Krishna's name is first. Well, it's always Radha Krishna, Gandharva Govinda Sundar. Why is Kishore first? And all Prabhupada said was he turned and looked up and said, Radha and Krishna appear in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like, that's the real thing that we're worried about. Krishna's activities and pastimes will come automatically, as we're told. So, not to focus on Krishna's pastimes and activities. This is, the clear indication of the great saints like Srila Prabhupada, Kaviraj Goswami, and, all the great Paramhansas in our line, that we have the opportunity to focus on Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and from that focus and surrender to Mahaprabhu through his agents, then the pastimes of Krishna will come naturally and automatically. And as far as understanding the pastimes, as Srila Prabhupada gave to us, our gurus allow us to see those pastimes in the form of the Krishna book from the 10th canto. And we're allowed also to enter into the description by Vedavyas of Krishna's pastimes in the 10th canto by reading the first 9. That's how we enter into it. We don't jump to the 10th and read it separately. Same direction, coming down through Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj in identical form with that direction of Srila Prabhupada. That we read and understand the pastimes of Krishna completely in the context of our service and surrender to Mahaprabhu. Okay. Okay, so I'll read the Sanskrit. Narayanas twang nahi sarva dehinam. Narayanas twang nahi sarva dehinam. Atmasya dikshakila loka sakshi Narayananga narabu jalayanat. Ch.ch satyam na tadvaiva maya. Not at all the illusory energy. Okay. To Lord Krishna by Brahma in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 14th chapter, 14th verse. So you are really the transcendental Lord. Brahma finally sees this, and he glorifies him in so many different ways in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Here he's glorifying him. Krishna, you little boy, Krishna, I know that you're that same Narayana who is Garbhodakshai Vishnu laying in the ocean of milk. You're that. I know that you're that Narayan. Now I know it. Before I didn't know, and I surrender unto you. So please help me. I have to do this work in your service to bring about the material world, help the functioning of the material world by continuing to create while it's ongoing, and finally to allow the destruction at the end of partial destruction at the end of my day, and full destruction at the end of my life. This is given in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam. The nature of the cosmological setup of the material universes is given to us in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, and by the grace of Vedvyas and our gurus, we can understand, we're given the information to understand the context within which the material world comes about and is manifest completely under the control of Krishna himself in his different forms. And understanding that, we know that the shelter of Krishna is always available to us. It's not as though we're in the material world, stuck in the material world, and everything is going on without God. That's the conception of the deists, like Thomas Jefferson, the writer of the American Declaration of Independence, and one of the main writers of the Constitution in America. He was a deist. He believed there was a God, but he also believed that God had just created this place, this planet, and thrown us here and forgotten about us, just left us here to make it on our own. So he was thinking like that kind of God. But here in Kaviraj Goswami's description, we see that actually Krishna is not that kind of a God. He comes down directly into the material world, brings about its creation, accompanies the conditioned souls along the way in their engagement in the material energy and in their gradual escape from the material energy if they decide to try to choose in that direction. Okay, so we'll leave it at text 70, chapter 3, Adi Lila, talks about the manifestation of Narayan in the Garbha ocean, the Karana ocean, and the Kshira ocean. These waters, these plenary portions manifest as Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Kshirodakshai Vishnu. Karanadakshai Vishnu manifesting all the universes from his body, Garbhodakshai Vishnu within each individual universe, manifesting that universe, and Kshirodakshai Vishnu within each universe as Paramatma, accompanying all the living beings and helping them in their, both in their illusion and in their development of transcendental consciousness. Okay. So Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhakti Rakhak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Acharya Brinda ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya. Okay. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopala Govindaram Srimati Sudana Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohana Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Radhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunatha Sri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunatha Ch.ch Gosai Kodi Charana Vandana Jaha Hote Vignanash Abhishta Purana Ch.ch Gosai Char Munita Rajasa Sangsavara Padarinu Mora Panchagrasa Angara Charana Siddhi Bhakta Sane Vasa Janame Mora E Abhirasa Ch.ch Gosai Jabe Bhaje Koila Vasa Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Kodila Prakasha Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavana Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Majaya Mana Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Kori Asha Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Kori Asha Hari Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narottama Dasa Hari Nam Sankirtan Kohe Narottama Dasa Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Anitai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaur Hari Bo. Anitai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Anitai Gaur Hari Bo. Anitai Gaur Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Gaur Hari Bo. Jai Saparigarda Shri Guru Gauranga Radha Giridhari Ju Ki Jai Gauranga Sundar Ju Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmala Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Visvavarena Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Acharya Brinda Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mata Ki Jai. Visabhyapita Diya Shaka Mata Ki Jai. London Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mata Ki Jai. Samaveta Vaishnava Mandala Ki Jai. Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Harinama Sankirtan Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo. Jai Gurudev.